players, welcome to another lesson. In this short course we'll be doing Raag Bageshree, and it's a very interesting rag with some twists and turns. So first of all we're just going to look at the structure of the rag moving across the single G string as normal. Something that you should really know straight away about this rag is that the tuning that we would use in the tempura has Sa and Ma. So in this case we're in the key of D, so if D is Sa, then we would go up D, E, F sharp, G, and that would give us a Sa, Re, Ga, Ma. So Ma is a G note. You'd normally have Sa and Pa in the drone, that's a D and A, but we've got a D and G. So that's a Sa and Ma in the drone. Now the way that we're going to play this, we're using the single G string as we normally do to play Indian classical music on the guitar in this style. And it's an interesting rag because the ascending structure actually tends to start from the note Da. So that's the 6th degree of the scale, but we tend to start with that and then go up to Sa. So when we're looking at the diagram, first we'll do it with the numbers and then we'll do it with Sargam. And I'll explain how the diagram works as we go. So we have this 6th degree of the scale, and that's the 4th fret of the G string. And then we have a flat 7th degree of the scale, so that's a fret 5. And these intervals actually sound more like they're coming from G, especially if you're used to hearing a drone, you're used to hearing a drone with Sa, Pa. It almost sounds like, Sa, Ga, Ma, but we still think of it as Ma, Da, Kumul, Ni, because we're still thinking of Sa in the key of D. So don't worry too much about the numbers, because the numbers might sound actually quite different to you if you're used to thinking about intervals. So we had that flat 7th interval, and then there's the Sa at fret 7. So we have our Da, Ni, Sa. So we can see here on the diagram we've got the 4, 5 and fret 7. The Da, Ni, Sa, which is a 6 flat 7 root. Now we jump over the 2nd. This hollowed circle means that we jump over that note. We only use that in the descending. So we jump over to fret 10, which gives us a flat 3rd. So this is a Kumul Ga in the Sargam system. And then we can go straight up to fret 12 to play the 4th. So this is the Ma, which is the Vadi. So it sounds a bit like the tonic. It sounds like the center of the scale. So we've just played a 4, 5, 7, 10, 12. Okay? And then we skip over the 5th degree of the scale. This has got a square around it and it's hollow. I'll explain why on the way down. So we skip over that note and we get to another 6th degree of the scale. So this is fret 16. This is another Da note. So that's the same as what we had down on fret 4. It's just an octave higher at fret 16. So then we just repeat that portion of the scale that we had here. Da, Ni, Sa, Da, Ni, Sa. So that's our Da at fret 16, and then a Ni is the Kumul Ni, which is equivalent to a flat 7, that's at fret 17, and then a Sa at fret 19. Okay, so that's the root note again. Okay, so all the way through we have 4, 5, 7, 10, 12, and then a 16, 17, 19. Okay, and those numbers, scale numbers, were 6, flat 7, 1, flat 3rd, 4th, 6th, flat 7, 1. Now let's just quickly do that with the Sargam before we do the descending, because the descending is a bit more complicated. So here it is with Sargam. Okay, so there's a Da, which is a 6th degree of the scale. Then a Kumul Ni. Kumul Ni, we show the flattened notes, the Kumul notes, we show those as lower case. So capital case is the natural degree of the scale, and then the flattened one will be with lowercase. So that's Cornwall knee at fret 5, there's Sa at fret 7, then we have a Cornwall Ga, so again, Cornwall Ga, so it's lowercase g, that's at fret 10, and then we have our Ma at fret 12, we had the Da at 16, and we had our knee at 17, remember it's a Cornwall knee, so with those Cornwall notes you can hear they've got a slightly deeper kind of sound to them, and then we get up to the Sa, the root note at fret 19. So it's quite easy to remember that ascending structure because it's Da, Ni, Sa, Ga, Ma, Da, Ni, Sa. So essentially Da, Ni, Sa, Ga, Ma, and then repeat Da, Ni, Sa, Da, Ni, Sa, Ga, Ma, Da, Ni, Sa. Now to go into the descending, let's look at the intervals a little bit more. So the descending, now we could quite happily touch on a Sa, Re, Sa. So we could touch our second degree going up to it, but because it's a hollow note, this is only for descending. So once we play that second degree, that's a high Re, we would then come back to Sa and then go back down the scale. Okay? So just for standard scale practice, we should probably just go up to the Sa and then move down from there. Okay? But just so you know, that second degree, you could touch that and then just come back to the Sa. So in terms of just the regular layout of scale practice, you'd go up to that high Sa and then back down. So coming back to fret 17 for that flat 7, Cornwall knee, then back to the 6th degree of the scale, which is a Da, so we've just done 17 and 16. Then we actually jump over this 5th degree on fret 14, we jump over that again, because it's the square, I've used it to signify this, because you use this note in the descending, but you actually do a little motion from the 4th degree up to the 5th, up to the 6th degree, and then back to the 4th. So you actually have to play 19, 17, 16, and then 12, 14, 16, 12. So that 5th degree of the scale, it's used but as a little twist. So as you're coming down, you go up to that extra note and then you carry on going down. So it's a little ascending bit of a descending line. So that's quite a special feature of Raag Bageshree. So that was coming down from the 19 down to the 17, down to the 16, and then back to our 4th degree of the scale, which sounds very much like a root note because of the tuning system that we've got, and then back to 14 to play 5th degree, up to 16 once again to play a 6th degree. So in the Sargam system this would be Sa, Ni, Da, Ma, Pa, Da, Ma, Sa, Ni, Da, Ma, Pa, Da, Ma. Okay, and then we would go back to our fret 10 playing the flat 3rd, this is a Cornwall Ga, and then we'd go back to the 2nd degree of the scale. Because this is a hollowed note, we can just play this on the way down, so that's our Re note, and then going back to our root note again on fret 7. So just descending down from that 12th fret, we had 12, 10, 9, 7. So that's a Ma, Ga, Re, Sa. And then you'd go back to fret 5, playing your Cornwall knee, which is the flat 7, and then back to the 6th degree, which is your Da. Okay, so we played that 12, 10, 9, 7, 5, 4. So I've been switching between the Sargam and the interval system and telling you the fret numbers. So I've been kind of chopping and changing a bit because I want you to actually build the bridges between these different systems. But it's also very good just to use Sargam exclusively, because that gets you more into the vocal system of Indian classical music, and it becomes a very quick and musical way to orientate yourself on the instrument. So if we just do the descending motion with pure Sargam now, we have the Sa, 19, then back to the Cornwall Ni, which was at 17, we have a Da at 16, then back to a Ma at fret 12, going up to a Pa at fret 14, and then up to a Da at 16, only to come back to a Ma again at fret 12. So, Sa, Ni, Da, Ma, Pa, Da, Ma. So this Pa is only used in that sort of fashion, Ma, Pa, Da, Ma, and then carrying on a descending line from there generally. So then back to a Ga, this is the Cornwall Ga at fret 10, and then back to a 9th fret to play Re. We can use Re in the descending motion. And then we had Sa at fret 7, coming back to a Cornwall Ni at fret 5, and then a Da at fret 4. So all the way through that was Sa, Ni, Da, Ma, Pa, Da, Ma, Da, Re, Sa, Ni, Da. So Sa, Ni, Da, Ma, Pa, Da, Ma, Da, Re, Sa, Ni, Da. And then the ascent is much more simple. Da, Ni, Sa, Ga, Ma, Da, Ni, Sa. Sa, Ni, Da, Ma, Pa, Da, Ma, Ga, Re, Sa, Ni, Da. Okay, so that's the whole ascent and descent, and you can move that across multiple octaves, but you just really want to get the hang of it in one octave to start off with. Now for the second part of this lesson, you'll have to head over to Patreon if you want to see it. In the second part of the lesson, we're going to look at some phrasing patterns moving up and down the structure of this rag, and some of the extra content on there will also be an in-depth composition and a very nice exercise which really teaches you how to fully explore the whole range of this rag on the guitar. And we go into a lot of depth telling you about the techniques and all the different fingerings, so it comes out as efficiently as possible on the guitar. So if you'd like to learn a bit more about it, then head over to Patreon. Whilst we're on the subject of Patreon, I've got an announcement to make. The first 25 people to pledge their support will gain access to a 3-part live stream, and in these sessions I will be answering questions, but most importantly unpacking the whole system of Indian classical music and how to translate it onto the guitar. So I hope you guys can join me for that, because it's going to be a really good way just to get your groundwork done, and then you'll be able to do the other courses that are on Patreon that I've put up with a lot more ease, and you'll just be able to get the most out of them because you understand the system that goes into it. So looking forward to seeing you guys on that live stream. Another thing you should know is that the Essential Techniques for Indian Guitar course is now available via a Patreon subscription. It's on the Gold Patron tier, and that's a course that's over 4 hours long, and it really crams in so much information. It's giving you all the basic groundwork to do Indian classical music on the guitar and how to work your way through an entire recital. So that's the most in-depth course that I think you'll find on Indian classical music for the guitar. So have a look at that if that's something which you think you'd be interested in, and then there'll also be just new courses coming out every month to learn a different rag or to learn new compositions and exercises. So yeah, we're going to have a lot of fun making this stuff, and I'm looking forward to seeing what people think of it. So thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.